Fuck around, make my 40 pop.
Boruto is now 100% Otsutsuki. He is officially a pure and thorough Otsutsuki. This right here is like a huge turn of events that we did get in the last chapter. I'm pretty sure most of you guys know about the lore to this, but if you guys don't necessarily know, I'm going to take like a solid 10 to 15 seconds to explain this real quick. But Momoshiki essentially decompressed the full karma seal. Because he decompressed the full karma seal into Boruto, now Boruto is officially a thorough and pure Otsutsuki member. Doesn't necessarily mean that he's 100% Momoshiki Otsutsuki, because the last 18% came from Boruto, but nevertheless, because the karma seal was fully decompressed, Boruto is now a full and official Otsutsuki member. Now, the overall question is going to be, now what? What are the ramifications of that really going to be? And of course, there's going to be some upsides, and I personally believe there's probably going to be a little bit of downsides as well, but a lot of the upsides are pretty much going to be highlighted specifically by a lot of people, and I'm pretty much going to be doing the exact same thing. Now, the first thing that I definitely do want to talk about has to be the Dojutsus. Every single Otsutsuki member that we have actually seen in the past, or we think that we've seen, because some people think that Amada is an Otsutsuki member, but every full Otsutsuki member that we have already seen, except Jigen, of course, they essentially had the Byakugan. And some people are kind of asking, will Boruto, because he's 100% Otsutsuki, will Boruto actually get the Byakugan? Now, I just mentioned that Jigen himself, in my personal opinion, was also 100% Otsutsuki. His karma seal was essentially in Jigen for over 1,000 years. I'm pretty sure it fully decompressed a long time ago. Now, because Jigen himself didn't necessarily get the Byakugan, it kind of leads me to believe that Boruto probably also won't necessarily fully unlock the Byakugan. But there's a couple things that I definitely do have to point out, though. It's a couple key differences. Boruto himself is actually a good Otsutsuki member. Because Ishiki Otsutsuki wasn't necessarily able to be reborn into the body of Jigen, we understood that Jigen's body wasn't necessarily the best vessel. Boruto was completely opposite. Boruto is actually a very good vessel, and that right there may actually make the Otsutsuki genes, of course, react a little bit better with Boruto's actual body, which would then give Boruto the Byakugan. A great case study is going to be Kawaki. Kawaki with Ishiki Otsutsuki karma seal. Because Kawaki was an actual good vessel, he was then able to unlock Ishiki Otsutsuki's Dojutsu, whereas Jigen was, I don't think he was ever really allowed to unlock Ishiki Otsutsuki's full Dojutsu, and we've never really even seen his eye actually change to Ishiki Otsutsuki's Dojutsu. So because of that, I think it's more likely that Boruto would then get the Dojutsus from Momoshiki Otsutsuki. If Boruto taps into stage 2 of the karma seal, I think that then is when Boruto would actually get the Byakugan. Now here's the thing, and here's going to be something very important in the overall series of Boruto. When is Boruto actually going to gain the Jogen? I think if Boruto gains the Jogen, I think this idea is completely kaput, but let me fully explain this idea. In the series of Boruto and Kawaki, they mastered something which is essentially partially activating their karma seal. Kawaki was able to absorb chakra even though the karma seal wasn't fully activated. The karma seal wasn't necessarily fully over his face and all over his body. He just activated the karma seal on his hand. Now, I think it's probably going to be possible for Boruto to kind of do the same thing, whereas Boruto wouldn't necessarily have to tap in fully to the karma seal to actually activate his Byakugan. If Boruto can actually activate the karma seal just on his eye and then have the Byakugan appear like that, now here's where the Jogen plays a part. Boruto is now officially 100% Otsutsuki. Boruto's Jogen now has the most chance to appear. One of the things that we did find out from Momoshiki Otsutsuki is the fact that the Jogen is actually an Otsutsuki Dojutsu. We even found that out from Tonetti back in the day. Now Boruto, which was essentially like a random 12-year-old academy student, or a random 12-year-old getting that's actually a human, that guy had a Jogen. It wouldn't necessarily be a huge stretch to believe that Boruto would have a difficult time even activating that Jogen or even actually utilizing that Jogen. But now, because Boruto is actually 100% Otsutsuki, we would think that Boruto would now have a little bit more control over the Jogen, and that's what we probably think in the future post time skip, because of course he activates it as soon as he also activates the karma seal. Now here's where the Byakugan gets kicked to the curb. In the event that Boruto genuinely masters his Jogen and learns how to activate it, I think that Boruto would no longer use the Byakugan again. This right here isn't necessarily a one-to-one comparison, but just so you guys can get the gist of it, once Naruto learned KCM 2, he never then used KCM 1 again. I think once Boruto learns how to use the Jogen, he probably won't necessarily try to use the Byakugan again. Now there have also been another dojutsu that people have actually been asking about, and this right here is essentially the Renagon. One of Momoshiki's most common abilities is to 1, absorb chakra, but to 2, also reflect it using the Renagon. Can Boruto now unlock Renagons on his hands because he is partially Momoshiki Otsutsuki. And I think we could definitely look towards a character like Kawaki for this. Kawaki himself doesn't necessarily have Ishiki's Dojutsu in his own genes, but because Ishiki Otsutsuki did have his karma seal decompressed, what is it, to 80% in Kawaki's body, Kawaki then had the ability to unlock that Dojutsu whenever he activated the karma seal. It could definitely be a situation where in Boruto's case, the more he uses the karma seal, he'll eventually unlock the Renegons on his hands. Now, it's all going to be a question. I think that Ishiki Otsutsuki had that Dojutsu in his DNA. It's possible for Momoshiki to have actually stolen 2 Renegons and then implanted it in his hand. If that's the case where Momoshiki Otsutsuki didn't necessarily organically manifest the Renagon, Boruto will then not get the Renagon. It all depends on Momoshiki's DNA. If the Byakugan is in Momoshiki's DNA, Boruto will get it. The abilities are in Momoshiki's DNA, Boruto will get it. I think that right there, honestly, is going to be something that we should definitely look forward to in the future. If Boruto actually does get the Renegons, he would then get the ability that Momoshiki has, the ability to actually multiply the potency of attacks. If that's the case, of course, that just makes Boruto that much more overpowered. Not only can he absorb chakra, but he can also reflect it and multiply the actual damage. Now, another thing that I wanted to talk about has to be the chakra reserves. Boruto, in comparison to Naruto, has absolutely weak chakra reserves. And the reason why Boruto had absolutely weak chakra reserves compared to Naruto is because Naruto himself was about half Uzumaki, and we understand the Uzumaki chakra, but now Boruto's in a certain situation where he's only 25% Uzumaki. Now, because Boruto is 100% Otsutsuki, Boruto can potentially have the chakra reserves higher than anyone. Like, let's be honest, the chakra reserves that Boruto can now obtain, it's going to be insane. I think post time skip, Boruto might have some of the widest chakra reserves that we've ever seen of all time. He might even equal Naruto post time skip, like right off of the back, and I think that right there would be absolutely insane. Now, there's also that question of, if Boruto has the same lifespan as a regular human being now that he's 100% Otsutsuki, if I give you guys my honest opinion, I'd probably say no. I think that Boruto has a very good chance of living for like over 1,000 years now. If you guys do recall, Ishiki Otsutsuki was just in the body of Jigen and gave him a karma seal and made that karma seal 100% complete. And Jigen was alive for over 1,000 years. Do I think that Boruto is probably going to be alive for over 1,000 years and the Boruto series is going to span for over 1,000 years? Probably not. But I think this right here is definitely a very good thing to note. Boruto's lifespan has now been significantly lengthened because of the advent that he's actually 100% Otsutsuki, which also possibly gives credence to the idea that Boruto's probably going to die at the end of the series. If Boruto doesn't die at the end of the series, Boruto will also probably live for a very long time. Either that or he gets a sickness or he dies in Saruto. I don't know. Either way, it's definitely a fun idea. But let me know what you guys think about Boruto turning 100% Otsutsuki in the comment section below. This right here is a very, very underrated topic that a lot of people aren't necessarily talking about, rightfully so, because let's be honest, Boruto got revived, Momoshiki can't revive anymore, Kawaki is essentially like on trial now, Shikamaru and Naruto are in shambles, so rightfully so. But let me know what you guys think about this topic in the comment section below. It's been your boy Baara B, and we out.
It's a knife.